Shaky reviews by the mainstream media be damned. There is enough brainlets out there in the wild singing the praises of the point and click looter shooter with obnoxious dialogue and insufferable storyline thinking and mistaking quips and quirkiness for character traits. They're all played the exact same way. You got discount Drax, you got the insufferable Harley Quinn, you've got somebody who has the worst fake, even though he is Australian, the most over-the-top Australian accent ever, and then trying to play it straight, forgettable team leader. Oh my god, I've got not even a fraction of the charisma that the likes of Idris Elba and Will Smith brought to similar roles. You know, thinking and mistaking that was making a very good and compelling video game. Tell me, what was the differentiation in the boss fights? Why is movement basically the exact same for all four characters? Wow, one has a jetpack and a shark that can run up buildings and claw into what it makes no sense at all whatsoever. And wow, how do you reconcile this great, or at least the tolerable, good, it's getting better story when you have one character that can essentially end every single conflict by activating their stolen powers with the press of a button? You have one character, I'm not even going to tell you who it is, because it doesn't even matter. It's not like the story ever recognizes that it does. Has access to the Flash's speed force and never takes advantage of it when Superman, Green Lantern, or even Brainiac is standing right in front of them. No, you just have to go through all of that contrived nonsense, all of the disrespect, and then just try to suck whatever's left of Rocksteady's legacy dry in order to come off with a nuanced take. And I don't know why the game is just getting so much hate. No, just, I wouldn't recommend playing this. No, not at all. Watch a playthrough of somebody that you respect's opinions. I did it with Mahler. I showed a clip that was out there, and oh boy, it's as bad as the honest people are telling you it is. And well, it looks like, even with all of those AstroTurf reviews that we went over not that long ago over on Steam, positive review, I refunded the game. It's super great in under 2 hours. It's not worth $70, but it's a positive review, and then the negative reviews actually get into the nitty-gritty. But for the people that are actually not taking advantage of the very judicious refunds, which, oh my god, all of these articles that have been making the rounds ever since the release of this, how to easily refund the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, don't buy it to begin with. And it looks like a lot of people are initially taking that advice. Kill the Justice League's physical sales seem to be off to a shaky start. Here we are, just a week over release, and well, it's not good. Kill the Justice League just launched, but it already appears to be in a precarious position, based on initial physical sales. But you also know that the video game industry is moving very heavily into a digital direction, and well, we can also take a look at the concurrent users, because guess what? We have an update on that, and well, it doesn't look any better than the physical side of things. It already appears to be in a precarious position. Yes, developer Rocksteady's follow-up to its Batman Arkham series. Yes, yeah, this is supposed to come out canonically after those great games. Series is taking DC Universe adventures in a new direction by putting players in control of some classic Arkham inmates this time around. Yes, and the one that DC just doesn't realize is killing their brand and just isn't getting over. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League allows gamers to take control of the titular team of anti-heroes, yeah, sure, and face off against the superpowered protagonist of the DCU. It's not the DCU, though. This is the Arkham games. It's those canonical heroes. Of course, the new game has quite a legacy to live up to and some tough competition at the moment. Well, like Pal World, completely dominating all active user charts. As the next chapter of the venerable Arkham series, the new title has some big shoes to fill. It's also facing comparisons to other recently released comic book games. Some observers, for example, are arguing that Suicide Squad's traversal system doesn't compare to Spider-Man 2's. And yeah, even when recently I just did a video about Xbox moving away from doing gaming and then just basically getting into the streaming space. Like Microsoft bowing out of the race and handing the uncontested reins over to Sony isn't necessarily a victory there either, because it's not like Sony is this big beacon of anti-woke entertainment. No. Spider-Man 2 had its own hookups. I actually did a video on that, strangely enough. Anyways, with high expectations and a competitive market, fans of Rocksteady's new entry were likely hoping to see a stronger release. It seems, however, the new game isn't delivering. Yup, it's short, it's repetitive, it's obnoxious, and it is disrespectful. Quartet of reasons not to drop, depending on where you're at, $70, $80, $90 just for the experience. But actually, it's cheaper than that, and another sign that things aren't going well. The new Suicide Squad game is nearly 20% off. And yep, there you go. Both versions, by the way. You can check out the standard edition if you're up here in Canada. $73. Go to hell. Or you can get the digital deluxe version, okay, where you can be inundated with never-ending quips. Go straight to hell for, cool. Oh, no, you can just a box hair under $100 for 8 agonizing hours of gameplay. Straight to hell with that recommendation. But anywho, as reported on Twitter by games industry biz head Christopher Drigg, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is currently seeing sales in its first week that are roughly half of what Guardians of the Galaxy experienced during its release. I might have to give that game, the Guardians of the Galaxy one, a fair shake, because what was it? I think on the Epic storefront. I know it's Chinese malware, they just sell your information. Oh, like every other outlet does, every other social media outlet does. Yeah, okay, thanks. Wonderful. I think that was the Christmas free game or the New Year's free game. See, I got a free copy. I gotta check that out to see if it's all right. The fact that is performing twice as well as the Kill the Justice League game as oopsie daisy, and that one, like, it was well promoted, and given the fact that it is Guardians of the Galaxy adjacent, you thought that it would have had some kind of staying power. But then again, you know, there's another game that we're going to reference that you would have thought would have done better, but at the end of the day, if the game's not fun, it's not going to get played. Given that the Marvel game, which also featured third-party combat and a wisecracking team of unlikely heroes, was seen as underperforming itself. It's probably why less than a year after its release it was given away for free. This doesn't bode well for the Suicide Squad. Yeah, exactly. It leads, the week in sales, but still falls below expectations. Oopsie daisy. As Drigg pointed out, Suicide Squad did lead other titles in physical sales this week, beating out Persona 3 Reloaded. So a remake of a niche JRPG that's just about 2 decades old. Big accomplishment there. Your over $200 million outing. Fantastic. However, it seems that this is more of a result of slow physical sales in general at the moment. Right. It's just slow physical sales, guys. Don't worry about it. It's not clear why the Suicide Squad is performing so poorly. Have you seen the gameplay? Have you seen the writing? Have you seen the controversy surrounding it? I've detailed all of them at this point in time, so it's not even worth retreading that well-worn ground. It's just simply, it's easier to just look at what some of the mass media outlets are talking about. And you got IGN over here saying that this is a sad end of the Arkham saga. That Suicide Squad sees less than half the day one Steam players of the ill-fated Avengers game, which, speaking of things that didn't even last a year before they were, sent out to pasture, we have more signs that this game is doomed. According to independent Steam data aggregator, so this will go ahead and take into account all of those, well, at least the vast majority of those nebulous digital sales, because slow physical sales, bro. Don't know what else to say. Marvel's Avengers managed 29,916. Just a little bit under 30,000 concurrent players in its first full day of launch. Suicide Squad maintained 13,459. Yo, brother, less than half. Both games offered an early access period wherein players could pay for a special version. That's the $100 version that you can get right now, which offers what exactly? a version of the game to play ahead of the full launch. Suicide Squad's early launch was not without issue. Yeah, it was taken down on the first day after everybody was given credit for completing the story, for simply being able to boot it up. As soon as the game went live in New Zealand and Australia, oh, to play Captain Boomerang is so great, you can't even play it on the first day. And that was over the top for me, but real Captain Boomerang, if you're, I don't know, so much of a masochist where you actually want to go check that out, go ahead and experience it. It's actually worse than that. After players experienced a bug which automatically completed the game after they first logged in for the first time. The downtime lasted more than 6 hours. Oh, okay, cool, but whatever. In response, Warner Brothers gifted Suicide Squad early access players a $20 in-game currency. Yeah, where you could spend on just about, not even 2 full skins, because just like the other recent Warner Brothers digital media releases, Mortal Kombat 1, which I love the Mortal Kombat games. Mortal Kombat 9 is fantastic. 10 was fine, and 11 I'll eventually get around to, but Mortal Kombat 1 with its $12 fatalities and how expensive are the skins, like, what the hell are you guys doing, man? Like, you had a great thing going. NetherRealm Studios had a fantastic thing going, but you microtransaction the shit out of everybody. But if you're shelling out $11 for skins, like in Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, can we just properly call them macro transactions at this point? Both Suicide Squad and Marvel's Avengers required an online connection to play, and yeah, thanks to the early access period, realized, just like the Justice League, she was a big old bait and switch, because instead of playing as all of the heroes that you know and love with the story section of the Marvel's Avengers, you got to play as Ms. Marvel. What the fuck? Crystal Dynamics announced last year that it would be ending all official support to the Marvel's Avengers on September 30th, 2023. Oopsie daisy. Having published its last update March 31st. And now she's dead. Not even nearly scratching the surface of everything that they promised or hoped to do with the video game. And that one was over twice as successful. And even still, like, some people kind of liked the gameplay of the Avengers. Some poor souls that were out there were actually playing some of it and had the tenacity to stick it through for some of the updates, but more people just, you know, played it and was like, oh, fuck, we were just taken once again. Oh, Crystal Dynamics added again. No wonder that studio ended up folding. They aren't getting that same level of appreciation this time around because it's just a generic looter shooter, okay? There's very little derivation from that or an old Borderlands game or old Destiny, for Christ's sakes. Like, there's nothing new about this at all whatsoever. We got jetpacks, cool, like that, and fly over a large chasm, you smooth brains. But I'm gonna go to this IGN article because, you know, 7.8 out of 10 too much water. If they go ahead, okay, if this meme company is just dunking on your terrible game, you know something is wrong. Let it be said that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League doesn't live up to its name. You do indeed kill the Justice League throughout the game, picking off Earth's greatest superhero defenders one by one before ultimately confronting Brainiac. Even the mighty Batman is brought down by Harley Quinn and this never-ending soliloquy. Just like Roman Reigns Triple H from WrestleMania 32 or Roman Reigns Undertaker at WrestleMania 33, you can still hear Harley Quinn delivering that never-ending speech if you listen hard enough to the distant winds. Fuck, that continued to go on and on and on and on. Harley accomplishes what her puddin' never did, shoot bats point blank in the head and luring Superman into the open and then giving him also an unceremonial death and then just immediately reminding everybody, oh, wasn't Wonder Woman so heroic? P.U. It's a surprisingly ignominious end for a character as beloved as Batman, and then of course the other added context on top of that, and maybe that was the whole point. We can almost respect Suicide Squad cutting through the mystique and killing off Batman in such an unceremonious fashion. And they did that with everybody else, sans the female superhero. Sorry, metahuman. But the problem is that it isn't just any version of Batman. It's a Batman from Rocksteady's Arkham games. Yeah, their own creation, sort of, interpretation on the character. Suicide Squad is technically a sequel to 2015's Arkham Knight, which had its own problems at the time, but now is being reapprised now that people can actually buy and play the game. See, I'm old enough to remember when that controversy was going on. The game includes enough references to the ending of Arkham Knight, to the death of Poison Ivy, and the fact that Batman's secret identity is known to the world at large to confirm the connection. And yeah, even people that played through Arkham Knight just kind of know that even though they were referencing that, and it doesn't even match up with what they were trying to do this time around, with Batman being back and his identity being known, but he also faked his death and they didn't even make it's a total bungled mess. Everything in regards to stories, characters, and gameplay is borked in this game. This is a version of the character fans have bonded with over the course of multiple long adventures. Yeah, starting all the way back in 2008, okay? The Arkham trilogy, there's 4 games in that, but Arkham Origins is just kind of looked at as the goofy bastard child, but it's still that same Batman, by the way. 3 of the worst nights of Batman's long career, nights where he pushes himself to the physical and psychological limits in order to save the city. Particularly in Arkham Knight, Batman is broken down to his core and emerges the other side stronger and more resilient than ever. For some, these games offer a definitive incarnation of Batman, and yeah, they were lauded. Okay, I grew up and I was very much around during the time when these Arkham games were out and people loved them, and for good reason, because they were good games, not just, oh, I just like this because another faction doesn't like it. And you just don't get it because the Suicide Squad, they're actually bad guys, they do bad things. It's like, holy shit, if you're at that level of a take when it comes to why people are outraged about this, your opinion doesn't matter. You're just dumb. Yes, they show no regard for the legacy of the Arkham series. It would be one thing if the game were set on its own self-contained universe. Then it might be easier to appreciate the black humor, the idea that Batman just not being Batman at all, not having a contingency, being stupid enough to go on a ship that is going to lead him directly to Brainiac. Like, yo, man, Batman, this isn't Batman at all. Then it might be easier to appreciate the black humor, being gunned down like a common criminal. But the game goes out of its way to establish its place in the Arkham canon. It transforms the Batman into a brainwashed killer, cheapening the memory of a hero, and goes out of his way in Arkham games to never take a life, even Jokers. This is not the ending Rockstar's Batman deserved. And yes, of course, throw on the dig that this was also, you know, the beloved Kevin Conroy's potential final, at least in a video game format, final performance as the Batman before he tragically passed away last year or the year before. My mistake. This game has been in development for 7 years, and this is the best that you could do. Unbelievable. But thankfully, even after all of the coverage, even after all of the derision that people have given this game, thankfully, based on the sales, there's not going to be much left to talk about because there's not going to be much of a game left to discuss given a couple months' time. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.